Alright guys, welcome to video number 6 of this lesson, and this is where we stopped. I'm going to quickly explain some other things. Something here. I have something. Okay, sorry. We stopped at this, and we're trying to create something very nice, or like a button in front here that has this inscription about me. And I used dive with headings to create this. So I'm going to change one or two things again so that we can have the style there. I'm going to move this from here. I'm going to move it under here. Then, okay, so that we'll have it steady right there. So I told us that you can manipulate the width of block level elements to suit what you want, okay, and to ensure that you have the exact size that you want. Then you keep on changing the values, because in this class I'm not going to tell you, okay, this is the value, the number you use in a situation like this. No, you need to get a number that suits your desire. All right, so I want you to have that liberty to choose numbers that suit what you want to create. Okay, now right here I have said earlier that we have two block level elements, which is dive and h3. So it is sometimes unnecessary to have a block level element inside another block level element, except you plan to add more content, like paragraph. P stands for paragraph, and in the paragraph I may want to use dummy text, and then okay, I have something like this. I may decide to do it this way, and for that I will need a container before I add my dummy text right under. But if I just need something that looks like a button to be on my page, I don't necessarily need to have a double block level element or nested block level element. Let me use the right terms. So I can get rid of this. I'll first cut and then delete this. Then having done that, and I'll put back my H3 and go back to my CSS. So you observe that once there is error, because I have made some changes here, the color of our CSS changed and it's showing us where the errors are coming from. So I have to get rid of this, and then let me also remove this for now. Okay, when we go back, we still have the same, which is good. So instead of accumulating unnecessary elements, you can make your code very simple. But there is also a disadvantage in using this without either having a class name or ID, or having it being nested inside another container. The issue is if I have multiple H3 elements on my page, if I have many of them, and I come to the CSS, I just use this selector. If I use this selector, it means everything I'm going to apply under here will affect all the H3 elements I have on my page. So another idea is, anytime you want to use something like this, use class name, and then you give it a class name, maybe about, and then when you come to your styling, you can either do h3 dot about. All right, So if I do it this way, it's still working fine. Or you remove the history and just use about, and it's still going to work fine. So you have options on how to select elements, and then it will still give you the same results. Okay, let's go back. Sorry, let's go back to what we are doing. So I created right here a button. There's a button there, and what I intend doing with this button is to show us that you can actually use button to achieve the same purpose. This is a button that I've created here, and then on the CSS I can just call up button and then open curly braces. And what else do we need to do? Let's see if text alignment is going to work. Center, and let's see. So it's not working. If we want this to be at the center of the page, what do we do? Because if you look at the button, let me copy this. I'll copy, and then I just make a copy of it. That is Control C and Control V. You see that button is not a block level element, it's an inline element because you can align multiple buttons on the same page. So if that is the case, how do we bring this button to be at the center of the page? So I'm going to just try many things very quickly. Take away, let me delete one. Then here, text alignment is not working. Let me use margin auto. It is not still working. So what we need to do? Okay, in a situation like this, we then need to wrap up this inside a div. And I'm going to give that div a class name, just btn, which stands for button, and I put it there. So when I come to my CSS now, I do not need to reference this again, or I may say div space div space button, and you see if you do something like that, it doesn't really make sense. So I can decide to reference the class name btn, and we see it at the center immediately. And also we can decide to say, okay, div dot btn, and it's still there. But when you say div dot button, sorry, not dot, div space button, you see it's not working. So which means you cannot select this with this. These are two elements. So it's either you call the element, the container element, with the class name that would affect what is inside, or the class name alone, then that would affect what is inside. Now let's also try what we had done before. So here I'm going to take away this and leave only button. Right now it is inside the container, but still it is not working. So I believe you can understand the method of selecting your elements in CSS. So I'm going to leave it at .btn, and then it is right here for us. And I would apply padding. I would apply a padding, and the padding I'll make it maybe 30 pixels because I like spacing my things, and that's good. 30 pixels, and that looks good. I can change the font size. Let me use 3em. Let me see how it's going to be. Oh, sorry. Let's take away this for now. Then what I need to do again is I want to remove the color at the background, so I can just put background and then make it transparent. Sorry, transparent, and that will take away. Oh, sorry, I forgot. That's my bad. So what I need to do now is let me call this, and then I'll copy it, come down, paste it, and then put btn something like this. And then here I'll try to specify font size 3em, and good, it's working. Why it didn't work here is because this class is on the container. This is the container, and this is the content of the container. So whatever you apply on this would affect the positioning of this button that is inside the container, and that's why we're able to position it to the center of the page. And not only that, if I then want to change this text, to manipulate this text, I need to make sure I select this element, which is button. So that is what happened. I can also from here put the background. The background, I'll make the color to be transparent, because by default button comes with a background color. So I'll make it transparent, and here let's see if a padding is going to work. Padding here, I will give it 20 pixels if it's not too big. Okay, that's fine. So we can also apply hover effect, and every other thing that we need on this button, and it will give us the same as what we have created up here. So what I've showed us now is, most times you see some things that looks like a button on a web page, but actually they are not buttons. So you can use div elements to create this, or headings to create this, and you can use button to create this. And another thing to notice, using button makes it easier because we have just few lines of code, but other ones you need to write a lot of code before it give you the button shape. So here, if I put a border, sorry, if I put border radius to 20%, sorry, percent sign, 20%, just change it. Although this looks ugly, yes, it looks ugly for me. So we can start to give it 50%, so that will give us a round edge, or something like this. So that is very good, very good. And we can also decide to come to this particular one here. Okay, here now we decide that, okay, we want it to have the same border radius. Here we have border already, and that is what gave the outline that we are seeing here. But because this is a button, it comes with a border line already, so that's why we didn't need to apply a border on the button. Instead, we'll start manipulating the follow come border. Now after the border, we can then maybe put a border radius, and then we can as well put it to 50%, and or put it to 50%. It's still giving us the same thing. So if you are seeing this on a web page, all right, and just for the first time you saw these two things, you may not really differentiate which one is button and which one is div element. Okay, so that is how to create button or things that looks like a button on using HTML and CSS. So color here, I'm going to give it this color, and then see, that's good. And then let me, sorry, so change the border color, change it to this, and then we have exact same thing, but then we have a slight different, which we'll correct later on. So thank you for joining this class, and I hope you have learned. In our next lesson, we will now do something very nice on the page so that we can move on to the next items and things that we are learning. I hope you are learning. If I am not teaching very well, if I am not explaining things very well, you don't understand or you are confused, that's why we have the comment section where you can ask. Feel free to express yourself. You can make a screenshot and drop it there. I'll be ever happy to assist you to make sure that you are following what we are doing. Thank you. See you in the next class.